Yo, what's going on YouTube? Doom49 here, and I'm back with another commentary even after that epic intro. But I think this commentary is probably going to be a good commentary because I've got a ton of footage to show you guys. Now, first things first is when you're playing a lot of Rush, the only thing you really need to do is make sure that your vehicles are utilized before you decide to be running on the ground and playing your role as whatever class you are. See, a lot of times when I'm playing Rush, I see a lot of people don't use the vehicles, and they are the most crucial thing to the game to helping your team beat the enemy. And this is a 64-man Rush, and we just did a little bounce there. But if you actually use your tanks and go off to the side here, you give the enemy the hardest time ever and corner them into one small corner where your entire team can keep looking at them. But let's just say you're playing some Battlefield and you run into one of these moments and the only thing you can think about is no, and yep, you get the kill. That's what happens. See, let's talk about this footage right here. So you run into this moment and you see the helicopter, and the first thing you do is pull your smile out, and all you can think about is I am fucking cut the music, Wilson. I know that song is great. Now that song was made by Koala, one of my subscribers. His SoundCloud link is in the description below, so go check this song out because he makes some of the greatest beats I've ever heard. But for the most part, as I mentioned earlier, you run into a lot of those moments where you just don't want to die and somehow you pull off an awesome kill. See, it's really just about predicting the movement of the enemy, especially for that enemy chopper that I took out easily. It's really not as hard as it looks, but all you gotta do is just predict that movement and take your shot off, and you will guarantee some of the most beautiful kills you've ever got. So I've said this before and I'll say it again, sometimes you run into one of these situations where the enemy just corners themselves in a corner and all you can think about is holy spaghetti.
Take that and this! And that, and this!
But of course, the one thing that gets you taken out is your nemesis, the tugs, and the spawn beacon, simply distracting you to get taken out. Now I think you need to see this footage because it'll show you why you really need to utilize the vehicles from your base, because it will dominate and help your team win. So, at the end of the day, as epic as that song was, and that too was made by Koala, I think we all understand that Battlefield is great for the simple fact of the vehicles it's got. And if you guys don't use it, you're not going to be winning those matches. So if you ever see a vehicle at the spawn, and I've seen a lot of matches I've played in where a lot of people don't use the vehicles, please use it, because you will be a dominant asset to your team, even though you might not be that great at it. Practice makes perfect, and you will get better at it. So let's talk about some of the air vehicles, and that being the Cobra right here that I'm using. And it really packs a punch. See, one of the greatest things about the helicopters, and people don't seem to get their heads around it, is you really need to stay low. And by low, I mean check this part out, because both objectives are inside this building. And all you gotta do is lay low here, keep laying as much fire on the enemy, and if you're ever locked on, just pop your ECM jammer or flares and get the heck out of there. It's really that simple, and my gunner is having a blast gonna be taking out these enemies. And anytime now, these enemies are gonna get really pissed off at us because their only cover is in that building, and our teammates cannot get in to get the objective if they're in that building. So if you're packing a punch, blowing a lot of holes in that wall, you're gonna be helping your team a lot, and that's what I'm doing right here. So really, if you're flying the helicopter on this map and playing Rush, do this tactic that I'm using right here. Even as the enemy locks onto you, just go low and pop your ECM jammer, or if the shot has been taken off, pop the flares and get the heck out of there. And at this point, I'm getting pretty much taken out a lot of enemies, and you can see my team has gotten in, brought in the Amtrak to help us out a little bit more. And that is a mobile spawn beacon for our team, so it is really laying a lot of hurt on the enemy. And any moment now, you're going to see them get a lock onto me because they bring in a tank to try to get us, but he notices the Amtrak, decides to get that first, but doesn't really get it. And now the enemies are all lined up right there trying to get a shot off on me, but they managed to do it because I will go down. And I think that sums it up for this commentary, guys, and I'll see you around, and I'll let this play out to the very end. But it was good talking to you one more time, and I will see you later.